Hey, Chris, hey, Chris, hey, Chris, hey, Chris, hey, Chris, hey, Chris, hey, Chris.
What's up, everyone? We finally started. Sorry, we're a little late. It is Wednesday. We are excited. It is Toy Daddy Day.
It is Toy Daddy Day.
How are
Toy
you doing?
Daddy and super special guest. It's also, real quick, shout out, happy birthday, Josh Brown, and happy birthday, Trix Blast, whose birthday's tomorrow. That's amazing. Yay! Happy birthday, everybody.
All in good company. Yimbo, I don't know if you knew. My birthday was yesterday.
And that's right. Happy birthday, Christopher! God, my brain is the worst. I apologize. Oh my God, yeah. Chris, that's on me. No, this is egg on my face. Let me just wipe it off real quick. Duh. My fellow toy daddy. Oh, I love you so much, Chris. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Josh Brown. Happy birthday, Trix. It's you're in good company. 17, 18, 19. Here we go.
There you go. There you go.
But I'm super excited. No.Chewing may or may not be joining us. He has an adventure on his way right now, so hopefully he will. But I know who will be joining us, Yimbo.
So this was so cool.
Go ahead.
I can't wait to see you mark out. Because that's what we were just doing backstage, guys. We were just very excited. So for our special guest, again, Chris, my friend, you set this up, man. Take it away.
Well, many of you know there are many great artists out there in the comic book world. And many of them I probably have never talked to. Maybe once or twice, maybe at a signing. When we were in San Diego Comic-Con, one of the kind of last places, we were so tired. Like, I had bags like here.
Bags on bags.
Boys. My shoulders were so tired. I was sweaty. I was just a little grumpy. And then we walk into Artist Alley.
Mm-hmm.
And we met Agnes Garboska, and we had a fun time with her. And then I was like, you know what? Let's go around. Let's go see all the artists. And then it was like middle school me just went back to all of the comic book nostalgia that I had. And I remember, and I say middle school me, but a lot of these artists I knew from like high school and college too. But Jay Lee, oh gosh, I can't even think of all the ones that we saw. But we met
Jimmy. There was a Jimmy
Chung.
Yep, there you go. That's what I had in my head.
I went from different artists to different artists. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Here we go. Come with me. And one of them was this artist that we have on tonight. And I will tell you that I've been such a big fan ever since I saw his art. And it's so dynamic, it's so detailed, and I really just love his drawings of superheroes. And when I saw that he was there, I was like, yes, let's just say hello. And he was so nice. He was such a nice guy. He still is such a nice guy because he's here. But we gave him some pins, and I was like, would we do a show? And I showed Yimbo's shirt of toy photography. I was like, we do toy photography. We talk about toy photography. Do you want to come on our show? He was silent for about 2 minutes. And then I was like, oh my God, he's going to say no. And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, that sounds cool. And I was like, no way. And then he said, I don't have any cards. And then I was like, oh, here we go. Because he's probably not going to give me his contact. And he's like, oh, but I'll just write it on this paper. And he wrote this like authenticity like card that, you would write if you have like you would give the person after you sign a comic or whatever. And he signed his email on it. And I could not believe it. And I was like, oh my
It was
God.
authentic, certified.
And it's like, and I'll take 5 prints, please. But I've delayed this. This was a long intro, but everyone, let's welcome David Finch, artist extraordinaire.
Woo!
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, really? Genuinely greatly honored. And again, our friends in the chat, we're going to say hi to them in a second. These are all wonderful collectors and toy photographers. And again, fans of comics. And again, that's why we couldn't be happier. I know.
So, Dave, let me just ask you. I've just explained the most magical moment of my San Diego Comic. Was as magical for you meeting me?
Absolutely, yes.
You
Think
hear
about it
that,
every
everyone?
day.
I thought so.
Well, Dave, my first question for you, just if you don't mind, Chris, I just have to
Go
like
ahead. Yes, do it.
because again, in doing like just kind of looking into because again, I'm a fan of your work, but then now to try to prepare for tonight and looking at your career work and everything, and I told you I saw some pictures of you holding action figures. That was one of you with Batman. So, how aware of you of toy photography is that a thing that has been in your Venn diagram? Have these entered your orbit at all? Like where are you in because like we always like to say that we are still a growing art form. So I'm just wondering, from an actual professional artist.
I kind of wonder how much I should admit because I am very aware, very aware. I actually use it for reference sometimes.
Wow.
I've always got to think of different ideas for like a cover or whatever, and I've been painting a lot more lately, and I find just the lighting is so dramatic. Um, I can get a lot out of it, and hopefully not too much. This is why I'm afraid to admit it. But yeah, I've got a really big collection on my Instagram. You can save into a gallery, and I've got a huge gallery of all kinds of different toy photography. It's some of the best
Jeez,
reference
okay.
out there. There I've got such a huge collection of artists that I'm a big fan of, but sometimes it's nice to just find like a different resource with some different ideas. And when I did a run on Batman, actually, my last run with Tom King, my Batman was very heavily based on. I'm not going to remember the name of it, but it's like a cloth figure, but then the head is obviously not cloth and it's posable. I've got a few of them.
Ooh.
Mezco?
It's a
Mezco?
real Frank Miller looking kind of a Batman.
Mezco?
Or
Yes. So, and I use that actually quite a bit for reference, especially with the head. So, I think toys are a great resource. Also, they're cool.
Oh, so wait, so I have to then ask, you
Wow.
are also a toy collector? Is that part of your thing?
I would call myself a low toy collector. I've got my collection. I've got quite a few, and I've been fortunate enough to get some toys made too. I did a Forever Evil with Jeff Johns, and they did a toy line of those characters, and I designed half of them, but I've got them all. I've got a Batmobile that I did. This is a couple of runs ago. It was 2011 or so, and I designed a Batmobile for that book, and they made a little toy. I've got a couple of those, and so it's nice to if something appeared in a comic and then it becomes a toy. That's awesome. And then I've just got my own collection. I actually have my own collection just for feet. I've got a Robin that has like the best boots, and I pull that out all the time. Like I need to figure. I'm bad at drawing feet. I'm an image artist, and so I'll pull it out, and it's just great reference for feet.
So neat. I love that.
So many things I'm trying to process that you were just saying in terms of just
No,
like,
that's amazing.
It's cool to have designed a Batmobile. The sentence could have stopped there.
Right.
And then you continued with comma that they turned into a toy.
Like, what a dream.
Hold on.
Amazing.
I gotta show you.
Oh,
Yeah, please.
This is so cool. One of us. I love it. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I'm gonna wipe the dust off on my way. You can see what a mess my office.
See, no, that's why you're a true collector, because I know my stuff.
Yeah,
The dusting is always kind of.
there's a reason why you don't see the floor in
All
our
right.
shots.
Yeah.
So here it is. Yeah.
Oh, man.
We'll go,
And they did an amazing job.
Ooh.
It's a little dark. Sorry, but yeah. there you go.
yeah.
Yes.
With
Oh,
dust.
that is awesome.
That's amazing.
Wow. Oh man.
Off my camera, you can see my very high-end lighting system up there. When I
So
started
it
my
sounds
YouTube
like
channel-
so we'll continue on just with like this toy aspect. It sounds like you you get the toys maybe based on some of the projects that you're on currently, or is it just you get toys, you're like, oh, this is a cool toy, or is it like I'm working on Batman, I need some Batman toys? Or
Generally speaking, it's from what I'm working on,
Okay.
usually, truth be told. And just over the course of doing this for so long, I've gotten so many. And so they all kind of have a bit of a story for me. Like I can see it over my shoulder. I think I'm pointing at it right there. It's got a gold label at the bottom of it on top of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
That is the 30s Batmobile. And I got that from Dan DiDio when I signed on at DC. So, it was a nice gift.
No, that's amazing. Oh my god. My mind is going in all different directions. This is so cool.
I mean, yes. Can we just go back to like sometimes you use references of toy photography in your art? Are there specific things that you're looking for? Or is it like the posing? Is it? I mean, it seems like you are really enthralled by the lighting itself. So maybe it's the colors and the how vibrant they can get. Like, what is it about the aspects of toy photography that you would take into your like art?
Well, I would say it's two things, probably more, but two major things. And one is with faces, it can be really difficult. I don't really generally use reference, and if I want lighting to work on a figure, I have a few different options. I can make it up, which I can do from a couple of different lighting scenarios. I can make up on my own, but I'm not some kind of genius. So, like if it's an uplight or if it's something a little more complex, I start getting lost. I can use a 3D model, which I hate doing generally. I'm not 100% against it, and I've done it. Or I can use a toy and just, put the lighting on it myself exactly how I want it, which I really like. And a lot of toy photography, the lighting on faces is so good. I find that I don't really need to use my own. I've got a pretty good folder collection of just all kinds of well-lit toys. And then just for a scene alone, like a Batman scene, having a red light come in from one side and a blue light coming from the other side, and seeing how that affects like the gray of the suit, or like if I've got a wall that's like a brick wall, seeing how the lighting affects that kind of thing. Really difficult to make that up out of your head, and I find toy photography is very helpful for that kind of thing. And the lighting is always with some of the best toy photography, you'll see a flash, and the lighting is really suits and complements flash so well. Or with Batman, the much more dramatic dark lighting. I'm sure if I've been painting for years, or I'd like to think if I've been painting for years, it'd be easier for me to just out of the top of my head just come up with this stuff. But as it is, I need to find resources, and I find toy photography. Movies tend to be not as good. Lighting is it's usually so moody. They're not really thinking in terms of like a key shot all the time. Whereas photography is much more, it's that moment, and everything is perfectly arranged, and and I'm not often using the figure itself really for reference so much as just the lighting scheme, and it's always perfectly balanced. It's very helpful.
That is so cool. And it's something that I know I've started this way. Chris, I believe you did too, but we've obviously used this as a piece of advice for people starting out in toy photography, but to go to comic panels for inspiration for how to pose or how to get certain things. So I just love this like symbiotic relationship, at least that you have with it, and that just, I don't know, that tickles me.
No, it's so true. How it's kind of like the reverse for us in terms of when I'm trying to think of an idea. Like right now, oh my gosh, it's the 21st is coming up. We have a Batman collab coming up, because it's gonna be Batman Day on the 21st, I believe. I immediately started like Googling Batman covers. Of course, David, your covers came up, but like saving a bunch of different covers just for ideas in my head of like what I can do with my Batman figure, or even which Batman figure and costume to use, depending on what cover I downloaded. But yeah, in terms of just ideas themselves, like it's really great to see. Most specifically cover art, because cover arts are the most like dynamic, and so many ideas come from cover art. So
yeah,
Generally speaking, yeah, I find I like doing covers a lot. They can be very tiring though, because an interior panel, I'm drawing like a moment in time, and it can be a lot of things. Whereas a cover always has to be, as much of the figure as you can possibly see framed in the shot, and it's a pinup basically, and
sure.
it can get a little tiring.
That's really interesting, because I think one of the most memorable pieces for me of your art when I was first like introduced to you was in Avengers Disassembled, and it was the climax of a battle with Hawkeye, Captain America. Wanda had just, like, you didn't know it was Wanda at the time, but unleashed this like illusionary war of like the Skrulls that came in, and Hawkeye. You see these panels, and it's beautiful storytelling, because you see this panel and there's no words, and it's Hawkeye just looking. It's 3 panels down, and it's looking at Cap. And then you see Cap's face, and you see Cap realize, and again, no words. You see Cap realize what Hawkeye is about to do. And of course, Hawkeye goes, "No, not like this, like this." And he jumps on the back of the scroll, and then he goes into and blows up, like, and sacrifices himself. That, and then it was a huge panel of like everything blowing up. That itself was, I felt like, such great storytelling without sacrificing the details and the art of like the costumes and the faces. Because I do feel like sometimes with the paneling, you do sacrifice. Sometimes you sacrifice a lot of those details for the storytelling. But I do feel like in your art, you get the most bang for your buck. In terms of those details, the shadowing, the stenciling.
Well,
I don't remember that.
I remember that was some of the toughest work that I've ever done. It was tight deadlines. I mean, it always is, and there were so many characters and so much going on. And I remember always being behind, and then having to do 2 pages a day of multiple characters on pages, and trying to find a way to do it. And it was a blast. It didn't kill me. Yeah,
that was a big storyline, no doubt.
It was. I mean, there are pages I see now, and I don't even remember them. Like, I can't even remember drawing them. It's just such a blur trying to get all that done in so little time. I don't think I could do it anymore. I'm too old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was really for me before kids. It was the year before I met my wife.
Okay.
So I lived on my own, and I just worked.
Yeah, sure.
I had an alarm clock, so I didn't sleep too long, and then I'd be up and it'd just work until I couldn't do it anymore. And I used to be able to do it for 30 hours or
wow.
I don't know what my record was, but long. Now I'm 8 hours. I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
Oh, all right. So in terms of your craft itself, at least through your website, I was, as I was going through things, you talked about. So are you like practical? Have you switched to digital? Or are you still with pen and paper and paper pencil? Or that's like you're still okay? Because I know obviously the digital, like again, I don't know if.
No, that's a great question.
Yeah, I'm just like, so you're still in the analog. Go with analog with it.
I spent a year. This is just over 10 years ago now. I spent a year doing digital, and I never really got comfortable with it.
What was it? Is it the feel?
It's the feel of it. I talked to Jay Fatbuck, and he has a solution for that. He uses like a surface, and he's got, I can't remember what his current one is, but he has it to a science, and he does it beautifully. It's incredible. And here and there, I kind of thought about, hey, maybe I should go back and try it again. I don't think that, I'm not some kind of a purist that I think that somehow work is better because it's done on paper. You still have to draw. Everything is the same. It's just, it will speed up inking. You're essentially drawing with ink. And I mean, there are a few other tricks that, like perspective, you can lay down all your perspective so much faster. Like there are things where it's an advantage, but I like working on paper. I've been doing it for so long. And to be totally honest, original art is a major part of my income, truthfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Something that I like having that piece of paper. When I sell it, I'm always glad to sell it because it is a business. But at the same time, I'm kind of sad to see it go.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my own collection of art from so many artists that I would never in a million years sell. And I constantly tell my wife, "Oh, it's okay though, because it's worth money. I'll never sell it away." But yeah, so I like having the original.
Well, that's so neat. And again, it's the same thing when we talk about, practical or using digital effects in our photography. Like there's no right or wrong way of doing things as long as it's your work and, like you're putting your heart and soul into it. So I was just out of curiosity because we have had the opportunity to talk to some other people and like the fact that, it seems like, again, there's different advantages to it, but again, I know what you're talking about. Like, I got an Apple Pencil once a couple of years ago, and it just felt just different to me. Like, even though I can't draw like to it, except like I still, when I mess around, I love that feeling of, the pencil on paper. That's just that texture, that feel. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But, again, it really is the same creative process, and you still need to have that vision kind of going into it. So I know there are some people that feel like if you work on the computer, it's not as valid. I don't hear that often anymore. I heard I used to hear that a long time ago.
Okay.
I never hear that anymore. I don't think anybody believes that anymore.
Yeah. As long as it's not AI.
Yeah.
We are very pro humanity over on this pod.
Yeah, it's a scary thing. It really is. It's scary.
Is that something that you guys talk about as artists, like in comic book art, like in terms of something that could that artists talk about, like this could really,
I think disrupt, right? Is it disrupting like what your industry? Is that something?
Well,
yeah,
it could. I don't think anybody really knows where things are going to go. It's and because we don't know, we've talked about it. I've talked about it with a lot of artists, and I think we all know where we stand on it.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
where we stand on it really doesn't matter. It's just going where it's going. I don't think there's any stopping it. If one company said, you know what, this can take over the world, and who knows? Well, another company would do it. It is what it is. But
right.
I think certainly for original art, it's not going to be. There's not going to be an impact, and it hasn't been. But for artwork that's published, I saw that. I think Wizards of the Coast, maybe I'm wrong with that, Games Workshop, one company, somebody that does Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Somebody said that they're using AI for story prompts and that kind of thing, and they're embracing AI. Well, if a few companies decide, hey, you know what, because they're all taking a principled stance and not doing that. If a company breaks ranks and is successful with it, well, who knows? And I truthfully don't. It is scary, and I wish I could say, oh no, it'll all be fine, but I don't.
No, well, I didn't mean that. Yeah, you want a TMZ? You put a hard question out there. It's just that it's also we are defenders of the creatives, and again, like even like I cracked the joke at Comic-Con, like you guys are again Artist Alley, all of these amazingly talented individuals, and in order for you guys to pursue your passions, like you're thank you for joining us, but we had some people that were a little more introverted, and I'm like, wow, and here we are throwing them with thousands of people together, like they just rather be kind of on their own doing their art. It's like the things that we do, you know what I mean, as people in general, but again, as long as we're again supporting the creatives behind it. So
yeah, absolutely.
We did talk to, and this was a few episodes back, but we talked to Harry Moore, the artist that does a lot of the like retro packaging for Marvel Legends. And this came up too. And one of the things that he had pointed out was, and again, no specific companies, but he loved the fact that there were like certain contracts now coming in with like no use of AI. So I'm hoping, like you said, it's principled stances, and I hope more companies put stuff like that into their legalese.
I think, and comic fans we need more young people reading comics. But the fact is that a bulk of the audience really is people older, my age, older or a little younger, but it's not a young audience. It is a sophisticated, and when I say it's older, I mean that it tends to be a sophisticated, very knowledgeable audience, and I think it's an audience that appreciates and follows creators. And I don't know that they would embrace AI work. I think that they would reject it. I don't think that it would work. I don't know, but I think personally, I still feel like we're going to be all right.
Good. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Again, I mean, siding with humanity.
Yeah, Dave, you're absolutely right. We need more young readers into comics. I think nowadays, at least my kids, they read more graphic novels, not necessarily superhero stuff, but a lot of graphic novels. Like there's so many graphic novels. And a lot of young kids like to read that more so than books, but I mean, that's another take. But I think people in our age, I know that I'm deep into comics. I don't necessarily follow characters as I do artists and writers. So if I know that writer is writing a story about maybe Spider-Man, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Let's go watch that. But I know this artist is also drawing for Batman, then I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to see that too.
Yeah.
And as you know, like if you're a good artist and you get signed exclusively to a different, whether it's DC, Marvel, Image, whatever it might be, people are going to follow you, and you're signed exclusively for a reason because they know people are going to follow you. So as we dip into that AI stuff, I still don't think it's an issue yet at all with the comics, because fandom itself for the artists and writers are still there.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I would be fine, because it would be a collector market for sketches and that kind of. I know that I would be fine. I worry for younger artists looking to
yeah. Well, that's
an audience yet.
Well, Dave, I do want to point out to our community that because I obviously being a fan of your work, but I just discovered your YouTube today. That's on me. But oh my goodness, the fact that but between your website and between your YouTube channel, you are trying to help the next generation. You embrace teaching and passing on, the different skills. And that's, again, amazing. Again, you're talking to two educators, and I know, like, I don't know, it's just great that you are willing to share. This stuff is there and it's out there and it's excellent. So I just wanted our audience to know too that you have this great channel and a wealth of knowledge for people to pick through.
Well, thank you so much for mentioning. I don't know how many of you guys watching and girls watching draw, but if you do, yeah, definitely check out my YouTube channel. I've got all kinds of videos on all kinds of drawing stuff. So yeah, and I also have a lot of guest artists on live streams, some incredible artists, some of my favorites. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, oh no, of course. And just so you know, like, I teach 7th and 8th grade, and I'm an English teacher, and I bring in a lot of, like, my school appropriate, of course, graphic novels for my classes to check out, because reading is reading, and that's all I keep trying to push on them. And yeah, and I have 5-year-old twins, and I took my daughter Chris remembers last year, she was 4 at the time, and took her to Free Comic Book Day and got her first My Little Pony comic, so again, just try to instill this love of, because this stuff has meant so much to me and Chris and to everybody that we know. And yeah, like it's something special to be able to share that love with your next generation,
Yes. Yeah. I think I managed to pull it off with my youngest. He's 15 now. And he's a huge comic fan. He's got all kinds of, we go to the comic store all the time. My older son, he's 20. He's not so much a comic fan. I tried. He's turned out great. He's doing really well. He's going to go into real estate. And, he's doing great.
Yeah.
He's not a comic fan.
So your sons, I mean, oh gosh, I can't imagine, like, so your youngest son who's really into it, does he like read all your stuff, or is he like, does he follow other artists? Like, who's his favorite artist?
His favorite artist is Mark Bagley, because and he follows characters. I'll just start with that.
Mhm.
He loves Spider-Man, and he's a huge fan of Miles Morales. I just got him the Ultimate Spider-Man, which is hard to find. Crazily enough, in trade paperback, I had to order it, and it's been tough to get. Anyway, so I got him that. He loves Mark Bagley on that stuff. So yeah, that's his current.
I mean, that was a great series. First of all, like reinventing Spider-Man, and Mark Bagley Spider-Man is pretty much the iconic Spider-Man that I grew up with when he did Amazing Spider-Man and then going to Ultimate.
I think it is the iconic Spider-Man. It's the one you see on all the pillowcases and pajamas and and everything. My Spider-Man is a copy as close as I could make it to Mark Bagley. When I started, he was still working on that book, and I love his work, and so I was trying to copy his Ultimate Spider-Man. To this day, I still try. Yeah.
Wow. Did you ever have him on your YouTube?
No, I would love to. He'd be a great guest. I haven't actually seen him it's been a few years. I think the last time I saw him was 5 years ago or so. And generally speaking, when I have a guest, I see him at conventions and we talk about it and we arrange it that way. And I haven't seen Mark for a few years. So,
well, if it ever happens, be like, "This is for you, Toy.Father."
I've met Mark Bagley. I met Mark Bagley like 15 years ago. I had him sign my first appearance, Carnage. And again, that's one of the, like, I love his design on Carnage. Like the very first design of Carnage is my favorite Carnage design. And to this day, like, it was because Mark Bagley.
I know. I love Carnage. I remember. So speaking of, we were speaking about it a while ago, but New Avengers, Sentry kills Carnage in that book.
Yes.
And that comes back because they all do. But
yeah,
I was so excited about that. I actually drew the panel kind of small. I didn't want to kill him. And Bendis said, Brian Bendis is a writer. He said, no, it's a bigger moment. You need to make it a little bigger. So I made it bigger, but it was under protest. I was so upset about killing him. One of my favorite characters.
Yes, I love Carnage too. I'll get any Carnage figure. Love Carnage. Actually, I had a customizer make a Carnage figure for me, which I'm picking up like at a con in about 2 months that I can't wait. But I'm so glad you brought that up because, again, another iconic scene is the Sentry overlooking the sun, tearing Carnage apart, like in two.
Yeah, that was originally a smaller panel on the page, and we had to rearrange it because he wanted it to be a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to draw it at all. I mean, it's not the first time I've been working with a writer. I'm a huge fan of all of these characters, and so there have been times when I haven't been thrilled about what we're doing, but it's the job, and I can't say, I'm not gonna kill a character because I disagree. You have to let it. It's not my job, but I was unhappy about that one.
That's so incredible to hear that, especially like coming from you, because like thinking about that, no offense to you, Dave, that was the right choice in terms of iconic scenes, like seeing that, like making it a bigger panel, because that in my mind, I remember the sizing of that frame too. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Well, I'm gonna just add in one more person. This is No.Chewing. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you
doing,
David? Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry for coming in late. My kids are having a little bit hard time falling asleep. So
we're all toy daddies here.
Yeah, just leave the toy dads.
Chewy, Dave's a toy daddy.
He's a comic daddy. It's toy dad.
Yeah. I was watching while I was laying next to my son, being like, "Please go to sleep, please." Dave's talking about Mezco. I was like, "I want to see it. I know I'm listening. I could be doing more than just like half asleep listening."
So Dave, you brought up like how is with Bendis, like just those moments. So how is it from your side in working with writer? Like so. Yeah. You receive pages, like, and how does that, like, what is your process now? I'm just curious from like the from that side of the table. Like, how does that work for you? You receive like script pages and ideas or notes first, or how does that whole work for you?
generally speaking, it always starts with a conversation between me, the writer, and the editor, usually coming onto a project if it's something new. And we talk about, where things are going, what the plans are. I don't really care usually. No, and I do. It's just I find I really love reading comics. I love stories, but I hate pitches. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So I'm listening like, oh yeah, it's fine, whatever. And then they ask if I have any ideas, and my ideas are always pretty stupid, and they're always the same. Like when I started on Batman with Tom King, I wanted to do Bane, which he let me do, by the way.
Yes.
And I wanted to do Batman as a zombie, which he did not let me do. But these are the kinds of ideas that I have.
Those are great ideas.
So we do that, and then the writer writes up the script. I don't know. My wife has written comics, and so I've seen it from that angle, and it can be a heartbreaking, difficult job. And for years, I thought, well, writing comics, come on, you write a few words, and it takes me hours to draw this, But the reality is that finished script is a result of a lot of back and forth and a lot of negotiation and blind alleys that you spend days on, and it just gets rejected. This is when you get the job. Writers, a lot of times, most of the time, will write multiple pitches, whole story concepts that just don't go anywhere. It's a tough job. So I have a lot of respect for writers. Anyway, I get the script; it's all finished, and so it'll say, panel 1, this happens, panel 2, and I try to be pretty specific with it. I find there's a lot of play here and there, depending. I might want to change things around a little bit. Usually I leave it alone, and I try to be pretty close to what's in the script. And I find it still gives me a lot of creative room to make choices. But I want the story, especially working with some of the best writers in the business. I've been so fortunate that way. It's a huge privilege, but it comes with responsibility of making sure that their story works. So I try to be very careful that way.
Oh, man. Well, that's a great take, by the way. And I just wanted to shout out your empathy and see, I'm always trying to remind my students and whoever's around about, looking from things from both sides. I love that, understanding that side of the table, and then, you embrace the flexibility where you have it, but otherwise, this is your time to roll up the sleeves. I like it. That's very cool. Thank you.
And the alternative is, especially when you work with some of the best writers in the business, they have choices to work with the artists they want. And if I want to say, hey, I don't want to draw that and just draw something, vaguely similar, whatever, it would not be long before they would find somebody.
Yeah. Also fair.
So, self-preservation too.
Yeah. No, for sure. Sorry, Chris, what were you going to say before?
Oh, well, I was just because you've worked with some incredible writers in the industry. Is there anyone that you haven't, that you want to work with in terms of a writer that you haven't yet?
Stephen King.
Ooh.
My favorite book writer. I read a lot of books, Stephen King.
Yeah.
So I don't see that ever happening, but you throw it out, and that would be awesome.
That could manifest. Awesome. It could manifest. Let's believe.
I have no Twitter following, but I can try. I know he's active on there.
Well, hey, my friend, he has a house in Maine, and he lives right next to Stephen King. I'll drop you a plug. I'll do that for you, Dave.
That's all you need. There you go.
Is there a Stephen King property in the past that you want to work on, or is this something you would just love to work on something fresh and new?
It's a really good question. I think The Stand. I think would be really interesting. Obviously, the Gunslinger's been done.
But not by you. Not by you.
Yeah,
right.
Not by me, but done incredibly well. He just did a book, Fairy Tale. Can't remember the name of it. I've got somewhere around here, which I thought was great. And I thought it'd be a really good thing to do. Probably, actually, you know what? He did a book with Peter Straub. What's it called?
Oh, let's see.
I remember.
Peter who?
Peter Straub, another writer.
It is Black House or The Talisman.
The Talisman and Black House. Actually,
Okay.
Black House came out after. That would be great to do.
Interesting. Do you ever So here's a like I know I saw our friend in the chat, and again, chat, we love you guys. Obviously, we're just
we'll get to you guys.
enamored right now with this interview, but we appreciate we're everybody we're highlighting your stuff, so don't worry. Again, that we love these conversations. So I know one of our friends in the chat is 1/6 shooter, it's Sir Trevor. It's our friend. Well, it's not Sir, an actual Sir. He's my Sir, but he is he is the
my title.
Yeah, maybe not. He's the Mythic Legion photographer and does all sorts of other, like, he's in this world. But I know that he'll still take toy photos for enjoyment. Is that something like that you still find your own joy drawing? Like, would you just sketch Stephen King characters like for fun, or is drawing now become like work time? And have you found other ways to pass your time at home? You know,
great question.
I hate to say it like this, but the truth is, it is work time.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Look, we know that you're a big professional. This is how we understand.
I love every minute of it. It's what I spend most of my day doing. I go on vacation and I drive my wife crazy because I need to bring work with me. I can't sit all day and do nothing. I have to work at least a little bit every day. I love it. But I'm always so busy. I'm working on what's in front of me. So
fair. Okay.
I find actually conventions can be really nice that way. People ask me for, look, I go through times when everybody just wants Batman, which I love, by the way. I'm more than happy. You know, if you're watching this, you ever think about it, I'm happy to do it. But I get so many different things that can be a lot of fun. I can't think of the last time I've sat down and just, no, that's not true. So on my YouTube channel, I've got a co-host for my live streams, Eric Grove. We paint all the time. And generally speaking, we sit down and go, okay, who do we want to paint? And we just come up with whatever. The last one we did was a Ninja Turtle. We did a Warhammer guy a few months before that, and a lot. So yeah, I do, just not as much as I should. I think in terms of just not working like a hobby that I do, I've really gotten into cooking.
Nice. Oh yeah, can't go wrong there.
It's pretty good. I did it to myself, and my wife, she says it's pretty good, but I think she just doesn't want to cook. So,
oh my gosh! All right, hold on the cooking thought. I wanted to finish this thought about you not doing drawing for fun. I was going to say I feel like your YouTube channel, even though it's work, it is your time to do whatever you want, and it's not necessarily something that you're doing for a book or whatever. Not only that, like, I think one component that we do we try to really build a positive community here that builds each other up and helps each other out. So I know that, when No.Chewing or Yimbo or myself, we have a new thing that we did on toy photography. We share it out. We're like, oh, we did this with our lighting. We did this with our camera settings. Try this. We share it. It's never a secret. What I appreciate about you, Dave, is that you like to teach. You like to teach people how to draw. You like to teach people your aspects of drawing. And it's not like a secret. It's like, this is how you draw 101. This is how I draw characters. If you want to learn more, like, all you need to do is go to my website, check it out, and also, check out my YouTube. None of it is a secret. You're helping people out to get back into the industry. You and yourself said that you want younger people in the industry. So that's what I really appreciate about how you share your talents.
Well, thank you. It is important to me. I find it's actually helpful for me just with my own art. I have to think through so many things that I've either just taken from another artist without really understanding, frankly, and that's happened quite a bit, or I've just intuitively learned it, which can happen too. You just find things that work, but you don't really know why. And so I'm having to kind of break those things down and see if I can figure out why certain things work. And it's also made me much more inquisitive, like talking to other artists. I talked to Lee Weeks, an incredible comic artist. One of my big influences. He's done just a lot of Batman recently, a huge run on Daredevil back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
His work that I'm just going to go on about him now, but he's one of my favorites. He did a Gambit miniseries that was the first thing I ever saw from him. Inked by Klaus Janson, amazing stuff. And anyway, so we were talking, he was talking about using parallel lines and how we were talking about inkers actually. And he was saying, inkers that he doesn't like, they can be incredibly good and they can be so detailed, but they miss a design philosophy when it comes to drawing his figures. And he uses a lot of parallels when he's drawing. It's a difficult thing to describe, but he actually drew it for me. So he explained, and it was awesome. And I had never heard of it. Something I was completely unaware of. So my next YouTube video, which will be out next week, by the way, you guys.
There you go.
Yeah, but my next video is going to be entirely that from Lee Weeks. I'm stealing it.
Whoa.
I asked him, I said, is it all right? He said, sure. So,
Wow, that's so cool. So is parallel, is it a compositional method or is it, or
well, it's so
not to spoil the video.
Just I figure if I put my own arm up, which is kind of off the screen, so like this line here will kind of parallel with this little section here, and you have a lot of parallels just in form. That like this line here with another one, I don't really know where. I'm not an expert right now. I'm still working on it, but he is very aware of that kind of thing. Like that, it's not just having the curves and lines kind of just going wherever. It's lining things up in an organized way. It's something that Bridgman does incredibly well. Well, George Bridgman is he has a book on how to draw from it's 100 years old. I mean, it's a classic, but it's inscrutable. I can't understand anything that he's saying in the words. So when I talk to an artist, it's kind of had an insight into that stuff that I haven't. I hope I can explain it better in the video. Usually I end up doing like 3 hours of recording, and then I finally managed to narrow it down to some tiny little piece where I made some kind of sense. I'm not right now, so
that's all of our stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
By the way, Chris, we have let's go to our first one, just because that last comment is a question from our boy Wade Create. So real quick, here we go. Favorite version of Batman to draw, and which Robin is your favorite from a character design stance?
Ooh, okay.
My favorite Batman to draw, I'm going to say, is I like two Batmans. I hate to just so I like Kelly Jones, the long years and the cloak and really shadowed. Something I haven't really done as much as I'd like. I'd like to do that more. So I like that version, and then I really like the really Frank Miller inspired. Shorter ears, stockier. More of a bruiser kind of a Batman. Generally speaking, what I draw is not really either of those. I can't really get away with the full Frank Miller look, even though I love that look. It's probably my favorite.
I think you get away with it. I think you get away with he's not like the big stocky one, but he's like a slimmer, but he's still brooding.
Yeah,
at least with some of your covers.
Kind of what I try to get. I want it to be dark. I want it to be, it's a tough thing though. When I think of, what version was my favorite, I think of artists, not so much, versions of the costume. And so then I end up thinking about, Jim Lee's version, obviously. It's so iconic. Neil Adams, probably the most iconic, I would think, on Batman. So I think of those versions. And then Robin.
Neil Adams drew the Spider-Man for me.
Nice.
Just had to show that.
Yeah. Look at that smile. He's so happy.
Don't worry.
That's a smile he had during our streaming through the lanes.
Well, now that I know
my
Dave
favorite
loves
Robin is the Damian Wayne Robin. For the costume too. I love the costume. So
yeah.
We were just talking about last week how we loved Grant Morrison's run with Dick Grayson, Batman, and Damian, that we wish they just brought him back, brought those duo back for kill off Batman again, and then you do Dick and Damian, because their dynamic was fantastic, and I miss it. I miss that.
Yeah. It was.
One thing, now that you're saying, for Batman, when you were on Moon Knight, and you did your whole Moon Knight piece, I was like, wow, he'd really do a good Batman. And then like it was like, what was it, like 10 years later you're on Batman?
It wasn't 10. It was Moon Knight was 2015. Batman for me, I went to DC in 2010. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it wasn't. It was 5 years, maybe 6 by the time it finally came out. But
yeah, okay,
it was a decent amount of time. I was under contract at Marvel at the time. I had just finished New Avengers, and I really wanted to do Batman, and I couldn't. And I was very happy at Marvel, and they're great.
yeah.
And so when I agreed to do Moon Knight, I just wanted to do Batman, and I really wasn't even all that familiar. Truth be told, I love the Stephen Platt version, but I had never really read it, and I kind of went in like sight unseen. I thought, I'd be like drawing Batman. By the end of the first issue, I was a Moon Knight fan. I loved the script. I was so fortunate to work with Charlie Houston, who's a great novelist. I've read a bunch of his books. He's very good. So yeah, that made me a massive fan. And there's so many. I think Moon Knight is a lot like Batman, and there are a lot of different versions, of Moon Knight that all work and are very valid. I wanted to see them do like the really violent, crazy blood-soaked Moon Knight for the Disney Plus show.
Yeah,
but I love the show they did. I thought it was
Great. Dave, I have to just throw this story at you. My very first Mezco figure was the Moon Knight, the comic version, and at the time, I wasn't totally like I knew vaguely of the character, and I was at a comic book store, so my options for a Mezco was going to be my first one were limited. And literally, my buddy, my neighbor who was with me, was like, "Dude, it's just Marvel's Batman. Just come on, just do it." So I was like, "All right." And then I fell in love with the character as I got into reading more stories, and then so on and so forth. But that was my also origin with Moon Knight. Was all right. It's Marvel's Batman. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's been the perception for ages. I don't think so much now.
No, I wouldn't say so now, but yeah, but at least back then.
Yeah. Well, okay, this is a good transition. As I said before, Dave, like we have a wonderful community, so positive, so funny, and so we go to the chat. We like to just welcome people in, and we read some of their questions. And everyone in the chat, you are probably the best thing about this show, other than Dave right now. But you're the best thing about this show because you give us all the questions, you make us laugh. So please keep it coming. We showed one question. We have a bunch of questions queued up, and we'll get there. But let's go to Zach, Sequential Plastic. I know he was very excited for you to come on, Dave. We got Josh Brown. How you doing? Trix Blast 95. Happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday, buddy.
Old Grumpy Nerd. What's going on? We got Jurassic Jesse. How's it going?
And Dave, you're like us, where we grew up with the internet and social media, and it's definitely like brings you back to the old AOL instant messenger days with all the handles.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. No.
Yeah, it just cracks me up.
We got Cal the Collector. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Oh, did we already say happy birthday to Josh?
And we did because then I forgot to wish Chris a happy birthday.
No, we wished everyone a happy birthday except for me, but that was okay.
Yeah, but that was yesterday. No one looks in the past. Come on.
Unworthy Collector, what's up, buddy? TMTJ 1987, how's it going? Keep going.
Jurassic Jesse's in the house. Cal, Shroomy,
how's it going?
KJ Smooth, Appertoy,
Smith, Appertoy,
Henrock. What's up, Henrock?
We
112.
Create.
And
Henrock,
Fables.
what's up, buddy?
RG. Yeah, we're just shouting you guys out.
Yeah.
I want to get to these amazing questions. You guys have starred 10 of them, so that's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to those.
Did you star all
Digital
the ones
version.
above it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
From the start, yeah. Digital
So
versus traditional. What's your tools of the craft? We already kind of talked about that one.
So wait, pause
Dave.
on that. Since you said that you take your work with you on vacation, Dave. So are you bringing like a tiny not even tiny, like a briefcase full of like paper and
Good question.
ink and markers and like all like
Does
what's the travel kit like?
2 weeks is one pad of paper enough?
What is your art bug out bag?
So what I do is I've got all my tools in a bag, my pencil and erasers, and I try to bring 2 of each because I'll always forget one. So at least, hopefully, I'll have one of them if I forgot. And I also try to leave my travel stuff in the travel bag because if I pull it out here, then I know it's in there, and it's too small for my pages are 11 by 17, so 11 inches by 17. They don't fit in the bag, so I always put them in my suitcase. I kind of pack them up and put them on top of the clothes.
Oh,
It's pretty much my strategy. I do that for conventions too. I used to have a whole portfolio, like a flat portfolio, but you get 2 bags unless you want to check one,
Oh yeah.
So I try to consolidate.
Is that standard that all artists go on 11 by 17?
It is, yeah. And now, I mean, not all artists. There are some artists that will work a little smaller and some that will work a little bigger for whatever reason. I'm working on a book right now, a creator-owned comic that I decided to draw double-sized, like a dummy. I don't know what I was thinking. And I find for me it takes longer than twice as long to draw double-sized. Because the bigger a figure is, or anything is, the more detail I can. And I'm inking it myself, and I can't. I put so much detail in. I don't know how it's going to print. I've been working on this for years.
Oh, geez.
So we'll see. Fingers crossed. It's taking forever.
Another question that just came to mind that I know I really want to ask. So you draw your stuff. Do you ink your stuff too?
Right now, I do. And the book, the creator-owned book that I'm working on, I'm doing Walking Dead covers. I'm making all of those. Nice. I'm actually very much looking at working with an inker again. I haven't for quite a while. I just did 2 G.I. Joe covers with Danny Mickey, which was great. So I'm kind of looking at, in the near future, going back to ink or going back to just penciling. I can do it so much faster.
So how does that relationship work? Like in terms of like, how you talked to us about the writing process and all that, because I think one big duo that I always loved as a like sketch and inker is obviously Jim Lee and Scott Williams. Like do you have a Scott Williams? Is it Scott Williams? I don't know, but
I've worked with Scott Williams a bit, actually. He was my inker on Batman, my first run a long time ago now.
Oh my gosh.
And I always knew working with Scott Williams, I had him until Jim Lee was ready to come back, which he eventually was. So I got a few issues, and then he had to go and work on Jim Lee. And so I knew that going in.
Is he the inker?
He is, I think.
He's up there.
He is certainly the most famous inker. I think he's unmatched, unparalleled in some things that he does. There are so many inkers that have so many different skills, so I don't want to just say.
Sure.
But he's incredible. He's an amazing inker. For me, he would certainly be a favorite. He's not the easiest to get. Danny Mickey is a huge one for me. I love his work. He's incredible. So much of my actual style is really based on a few inkers because I started out, I didn't know what I was doing. This is years and years ago, 94 when I started. And I learned a lot of the first things that I learned from Billy Tan, who's actually a penciler also. Mostly, he's really a penciler, but he did me a favor and inked a few things. I learned a lot from that early on. And then I worked with Joe Weems, who I learned a lot from. Matt Banning, Bat, we did a lot of stuff. This was all in the 90s. So a lot of my style came really from them. And then Danny Mickey was my next, long-term, really good inking relationship that I had. And so much of my Marvel style developed as a result of Danny. He's responsible for a lot of it. So whenever he inks me now, I feel like, this is part of me that I can't do myself.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's so interesting. So how does that work in terms of you give them the art and they're all in your? Do you give them notes or just like do your thing?
I just say do your thing. And now that's having worked with an inker for quite a while. It's easy enough to do that. If it's a newer relationship working with an inker, or if I'm looking for a particular thing, I'll give notes. I do find, truthfully, that generally speaking, I don't think notes are all that effective. I think with colorists, I feel the same. When you have a really good colorist, you're better off to just say, do your thing and let them do what they want to do and stay out of it. Because they're so good, they're going to do a great job. And I'm not going to be able to make it better by saying, do this or do that. So I try to stay out of it. Whereas somebody that's not a good fit, me giving them a lot of notes, I don't find really actually makes me happy with it. Truthfully, like I've tried and I just find it doesn't work that way. So my preference, and I've been so fortunate to be able to work with great people, is to work with people that really compliment me and then just stay out of their way.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a great approach. I mean, like honestly, it sounds like you've built not only your career, but all these relationships with just being who you are. Which is man, Dave, again, just come off as such a genuinely great dude. I really, it's so nice. That's the one I wanted to highlight. Good job. That was what I was going to say next.
That's question number 3 now. So we're moving along now.
Dave, I don't try to draw comics anymore, but when I was trying, your tutorials were huge for me. Really appreciate what you do. Huge fan. Thanks for coming on this show.
Thank you. And I will say, I hope that if you're not looking to draw comics, you're still drawing or doing something where it's visual, because I mean, obviously it's an interest for you. And I think they all can work together so well. You can pick up so many different skills from
oh man, we might have to real quick if you. I know we have toy photography to discuss. So our friend here, Zach, Sequential Plastic, has been doing toy photography comic, and it has been spectacular. And I just I don't know if you want to bring that up real quick because it's been some stellar work. Again, panel work, which is difficult from what I mean. Again, I've never attempted it, but I've heard that just understanding panels and how panels work in comic books. So for him to then apply this into toy photography, he's
what's actually brilliant about his work too. So much of this is practical. He's building these little miniature sets, like that little, like the stairway and that workshop. He's just cutting up foam and doing it himself.
I told him I have to go back and really read this from start to finish, because this was insane. Look at that. He made
amazing.
this.
I was gonna say, Yimbo, I wasn't on that issue, so I got a sport.
Oh, sorry. Oh no.
Sorry.
I apologize. Oh no. But yeah, I just had to shout that out, and again, because he's been doing a great work, and it's all again, all of our art forms inspiring one another. So
that's amazing. That's incredible, and all of those shots are so composed. The lighting is beautiful, but those are one of the hardest things for an artist to learn with storytelling is how to compose a shot to make it clear and visually easy to read. And those are both the same thing. Clear. Now I'm drawing a blank. You know what I mean? Hopefully. Anyway, they're beautifully done. So yeah, I don't know how much that he got from me. I'd like to think something, maybe.
Yeah. No,
I'm sure he did.
Oh, that's so cool.
David, who's your favorite comic book character?
Batman.
There you go. Boom.
Everybody says Batman. Come on. I love Spider-Man. I love Batman. Wolverine. Moon Knight. Those are kind of my big ones. But Batman has Gotham City and the Batmobile and Joker and so much.
Yeah.
Aside from just Batman, who I love, Batcave. So I have to say Batman.
I have to say it's really nice to hear you be such a fan of the things that you're working on, and it makes you feel the passion, but it also makes me happy that like, wow, you're at a place where you're drawing your favorite character. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, I've been so lucky to have been able to do that. X-Men is what got me into comics, and I got to do a run of X-Men with Bendis, and then a lot of covers over the years. And I'd like to do. There's so many things I'd like to do again. I'd love to do a run on X-Men. I'd love to.
God, so we'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd love to do a run on Spider-Man. I've never done that. I've done Spider-Man, but to do a run, never.
I love what I don't know if your son is liking the new Ultimate Spider-Man. Love what Hickman is doing with that Spider-Man.
Yeah, this has been going over so well. I hear about it all the time. Conventions are such a great way to know, well, I'm just going to the comic store, but conventions are a great way to know what fans are really getting into, and I'm hearing so much about that book. So okay, you know what? Truth be told, I bought it for him. I don't know that he's read it yet, so I'd be lying if I said, "Oh, he's a big fan." I need to go through his room and dig through the pile of mess. We should see it.
I do have to admit though, like first of all, Peter Parker looks like Yimbo, and it is like an older Spider-Man, so I feel like it's supposed to hit us. Like it's Spider-Man past his prime or in his 40s who has kids and balancing that piece and then gets superpowers. I'm like, my gosh, that's me if I get Spider-Man powers right now. So I don't know if we'll hit your son, but
that's funny, Chris. You're like, finally, a comic book for me.
Well, you've got Miles Morales
all
right
these
now.
years, yay!
There you go. Dave, is your son drawing too, or he's just into them as a fan and just consuming them, like just gobbling them up in terms of reading? Or
he's drawing.
Nice. Okay.
He's very into anime and like so many young people now. And more cartoony work. Like he doesn't draw like I do. He doesn't want to. And he said, I need to learn how to draw this, or and I say, I've got a YouTube channel. You don't need to listen to me say it. And he told me my channel is boring. The videos are boring.
Oh,
right.
Aren't our kids our harshest critics?
Fun move.
Oh man.
I said, you're on your own.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave.
He's in that moment where your son thinks you have nothing to provide.
You're like, hey, at least I know people. I can put you in touch with friends.
Do you ever your ultimate comeback could be like, 500,000 people disagree with you?
Yeah.
He does not care.
Yeah.
That's how we're humbled.
That's how it always is the role of parents.
Well, I don't know if you know 78 Points of Articulation, but he develops amazing dioramas for the toy photographer we do. You should check out his artwork, or if we could pull it up, that would be great. But he has a question. The 90s were such a big time for comics, a clearly distinctive look. It's fair to say we haven't had something like that since then. Any ideas why there hasn't been such a moment?
Yeah, I have some ideas. The 90s was a very dominant period for artists, with Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and Tom. I can't believe I'm blanking on Tom McFarlane. Come on, it's craziness. But with Tom McFarlane and like that Image kind of core group, Mark Silvestri coming along. Mark Silvestri actually, I'm talking about it. Yeah, wow, it's amazing stuff. Nosferatu one looks amazing.
Yeah,
it's very cool. But that was a huge time for comics. That's just, it jumped off the stands, and people really gravitated to it in a way that made artists. Now, artists were already more dominant than they are now, but companies really went in completely on artists, and because they were marketing them, you could have Jim Lee relaunch X-Men and have it sell millions. And Todd McFarlane, because it's an immediate visual thing that people could just look at and go, wow, I'm excited by this. And so all the panels were huge and popping out into other panels, and things were just visually much more bombastic than they had been before. But the downside to that was stories really suffered. Art was done without regard to story. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
I believe this is the
newest
next
dial.
one. Yeah, it's a rooftop.
So he's a dial maker and an architect. So he's very good at all the things.
Yeah, his real life job is an architect.
It's really incredible.
And this is another one that he's going to have at Legion's Con. This is massive diorama.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But stories really suffered, and fans, a lot of fans got very jaded. And while there were a lot of fans coming in, and it also coincided with the collector boom back then. But a lot of fans got frustrated with the fact that the characters that they loved in the 80s were not really being represented well, and it was just all about art and more event-driven things. And so Joe Quesada came into Marvel and very wisely shifted things back toward writing, and I think that saved the industry. Certainly made it so much stronger, and that set up the period of Marvel that led into the movies and led into so much success, and it was a necessary thing. The downside of that is that it's very difficult to promote a comic now, because you don't have something immediately visual that you're going to say, Todd McFarlane is drawing this book, and they do. I mean, they have Greg Capullo on Wolverine, but I don't really feel like it was marketed now, and it's doing well. I mean, it's doing great, but to me, Greg Capullo going from Batman and all of the things he's doing over there, going to do Wolverine, that should be a 1 million copy seller, a huge deal, biggest deal of the year. Who cares who's writing it or if he even has a story? Because it's freaking Greg Capullo on Wolverine, and I'd love to see more of that kind of excitement. It's tough, it's not the same era.
It's funny because I felt like that synergy probably in like the 2010s maybe, where you would have the artist and writer pair together. So it was Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb, it was Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder. Like those were like the super teams that people were looking for in terms of just the comic books. But you're right, it has shifted since the movies, and now there is no necessarily pitch for those big names anymore.
Yeah, there's really not, and the way that comics are promoted now has also kind of hurt that. We went from Wizard magazine, where if you got an article spread in Wizard, you were like the man. I mean, you go to a convention and that's right. I was at Wizard. You get that the whole month.
Yeah.
Now you'll get a story on Bleeding Cool or some of the content sites. It'll last for 10 minutes, and then the next story is under it, and it goes down the line, and things just so you have Marvel, for instance, and they have a huge crossover with Spider-Man, the greatest artist of all time, and Stephen King is writing, whatever. A minute later, you have a book that nobody's ever heard of that I'm sure is very good. I mean, I don't want to, but you have something that just does not have the same potential for audience, and it takes up just as much visual space and it takes much time. And so to really splash market something, there's no mechanism for it right now.
Yeah, we're living in an era of 24-hour news cycles, and there's a lot of demands on our attention, and there's also more options, like in terms of how people are spending their time, and just in terms of even YouTube, to comics, to TV, to film, and all of the things, Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of demands on our attention. But I wonder do you have ideas for that? Just out of curiosity, again, you're doing a lot of good manifesting tonight. So I'm just wondering if there's any other ideas out there to help in something that you'd love to see any nameless comic company do to help, get the machine behind a book.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, we're not marketers. I
thought, I know all the answers, and I understood. To me, I feel like the best approach that I've seen and the most successful that I've seen in quite a while, and I think think they did it very well, is Ghost Machine.
Okay.
That is a company that has, now I have no affiliation with it, so,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it's a company that has incredible writers and incredible artists paired up. These are writers and artists that are kind of known for working together before too. So it's a commodity. To me, it gives me a lot of the vibes of like the 2010s with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. I think they're doing it right.
Interesting. All right.
Marketing, I don't know. I started a YouTube channel because I thought, well, this was during the pandemic, and I thought, well, I can't do conventions. I want to kind of connect, and I do like to teach, but I also thought, okay, it's a value proposition. If I want to start a channel and I'm not providing anything, who's going to watch, right? So tutorials obviously make sense. So it worked out. I find if I do something that's against my nature, it never works anyway. So it worked well.
Yeah.
I think it's good for promotion,
Definitely. I mean, definitely. I mean, I think what I like about it is your drawing. You have a finished product by the end of it, and everyone wants to see like how it turns out. I know all of us do. It actually it's kind of like our friend Bob Ross here. So you start with just like a blank canvas, and then you have happy little clouds at the end of it.
It
like
is
how you have props.
Oh yeah. But I was gonna say, like, it is absolutely mesmerizing to see professional comic artists like yourself drawing in person. Like, there is nothing like it. Man, like, even I got to see we got to see our friend the Chombo like draw something for our friend's daughter, and it was just wow, man. Like, it was just I was like I should be paying for this, and I just walked along. I was like this, but I would just went into this tractor beam, and again, same thing walking through Artist Alley, and we saw again. You saw Chris's excitement, like that was exuberant as he went to everyone tearing through prints, and just it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. So new video dropping tomorrow. Don't forget to hit that bell on his channel, everybody.
The Green Goblin, jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah, Green Goblin.
This is like one of my favorite examples of what Yimbo just said. It's like magic. You start off with a rough sketch, and over time,
just end with that. Oh my god!
In one night, you're just like, here you go.
I did that one actually with Eric Grove. We went back and forth. So Eric did, I think the hood Eric did, and some of I can't remember what either one of us did, but we both worked on that together.
That's stunning too. The final work, that's crazy. That's an amazing goblin.
Dave, have you seen DC has been doing some actually I forget the toy photographer, but putting toy photography on comic book covers. I feel like it's one of the first things, like when I go to a comic book store, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, one of us made it here. But I don't know if that's something that artists are talking about in terms of just like those comic book covers, but I thought that was something in our little kind of community where we're like, wow, great for him, that's awesome, that's pretty cool.
No, are you kidding? That was for toy photographers. We're like, oh my god, like the toy photography's on a comic cover. That's so cool.
it was such a weird realization to see. I'm like, what is this? This is, oh my gosh.
Well, just we've been talking, and we're all planning our retaliation now. This is our turf.
It's the same,
fair.
Same talk as AI.
I think they're very, very popular with fans. For like an alternate cover with something.
Yeah. Again, I love variants. Variant covers are great.
A lot of sense. I remember years ago, probably about 10 years now, Marvel was doing all those. They weren't toys, but they were basically drawings of like, oh, this cover has a version of Jean Grey action figure and like all the different parts accessories that would come in it. It's funny that 10 years later, we're starting to see more of that realization come through, and then flip it around again. That now, instead of a drawing of a toy, now we're getting covers of actual toy photography. So
and comic artists like me stealing using toys as reference.
And we use comic panels as reference, so it's all good.
what the object is, but that classic wooden doll that sits on like an artist's desk to pose out. Now we just have way better stuff. It's the same reason why we love toys so much now.
Yeah.
It was cool back then, 34 years ago. It was definitely did the trick, but now they're really cool.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember Todd McFarlane came out with his original Spawn, and that was awesome when he came out. And you look at it now, and it's a simple toy.
Oh,
but he does amazing stuff. Who would you guys say, if you had to pick, would it be your favorite company or line that you think is the highest, like the best quality?
So I'll jump in first and say one thing that we've all determined at different points is that no one's made our perfect figure because, again, everybody has different opinions as to, yada, yada. Well, I Mezco is one of mine.
That's not true. I have my perfect figure.
Oh, do you?
Dude, that's nice. Yeah. That's lovely.
I would say.
Wait, what's your perfect figure?
I would say your perfect figure is like your favorite figure for me, at least. Like is like I don't think I would change anything on it.
Well, okay. All right. Well, I would be Mezco, Dave. That would be Mezco is because I love the soft goods and how like the clothing, the fact that it's textured, it's real fabric.
Yeah.
I just find it. Like my goal is always to make my toys look as real as possible and create, cinematic type scenes.
Well, you can do like a Frank Miller shot with it. You can pose it that way, and I know I've seen it done really well. So can't.
So I'm a big fan of Mezco. I know Chris. Well, all three of us love, but Chris, what would you say is your in terms of toy lines? Toy lines.
Yeah, I love Mezco, but one figure line that I do collect a lot of are SH Fig Arts.
Mm-hmm.
I do like their Spider-Man, and I think for me, they're like one of my most perfect figures that they've ever made is the Toei Japanese Spider-Man. It's a fantastic Spider-Man. I could just pull it out, just so you know. But I don't know if you've seen Toei Spider-Man before. If I show it to you, I'm sure you'll have seen it. But
70s, early 80s live action Spider-Man. But I'll answer the question while Chris is doing that.
Yeah.
My favorite is actually by a company by Revoltech, Amazing Yamaguchi. They do, somewhat comic inspired versions of a lot of the figures I like, and they just have ridiculous range, over engineered capability of what you can do with the figure.
You'd actually I would think, like in terms of if you were to use a toy as an inspiration for a panel, like the fact that these figures can get the most twisting and range and mess with the proportion. They're very neat too. So obviously, I love those two.
You do so much with it, but it's clearly over-engineered. You can see a lot of separation of the body. So it all depends on what you're looking for. But for me, I go with the hand candy over everything else. I mean, I love so much like Mezco, Mafex, and SH. Love a lot about it. But if I had to pick one brand of toys, or it'd be Amazing Yamaguchi.
Mm-hmm. I saw you have your Spidey, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more like I like articulation, but not as much as No.Chewing, but I do love a good sculpt, and so this is like my favorite Spider-Man figure, Japanese Spider-Man, basically. He has his little hand wrist thingy, which opens up. See, it opens up right there. I don't know. This
they have. Excellent. Yeah, Chris got me into SHF. I have almost all their Spideys. Oh, they have some great for your son. Some great Miles Morales in Across the Spider-Verse figure. That's really I think and it's 15 plus, so he's right there. He's in it.
Is there an age bracket on that?
There is on SHF. It's 15 plus. Yeah.
That has to be a market employee.
So that is SH Figure Arts. And there, if you SHF, even if you go to Amazon, SHF Miles Morales, boom.
Yeah, look it up.
Great toys.
Right. His birthday is actually like next week, so I'm gonna have to do it today.
I mean,
Yes.
okay. If he's the best Spider-Man figure, is the Sentinel.
Oh, you gotta write that one down too.
Sentinel is the toy line in Miles Morales. It is
So
one of
this
the.
is okay.
No, it's fine. I don't want to confuse them. That is the SHF.
Okay.
That's the SHF.
So that's across the Spider-Verse. And then there's the Sentinel into the Spider-Verse. So depending on if he wants which movie version he wants.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man, they're both great for the record. Can't go wrong. I don't think either way.
This is.
I think we
Sentinel.
both like the second movie more, which is crazy. I love the first one.
Oh yeah.
They are some of the most magical movies in the last 10 years. Those
Yeah.
They are.
Spider-Verse films.
Dave? Are you in the boat of disappointment when there was the possibility that they were going to do a Batman Beyond film that was scrapped? Did you hear? Had you heard about that?
No, I mean I heard what you guys. It's not like I had an inside track on any of that.
Oh yeah.
I saw some of the artwork that they had for it. It looked amazing. It would have been awesome. It would have been.
Oh, really?
I don't know why they scrapped it. And with Spider-Man doing so well, it makes no sense that they would.
Yeah.
So
James Gunn does a good job, but it just seems like he just threw away a lot of things.
Yeah. There's one artist that I wanted to highlight and get. So he's also a toy photographer, but he's an artist as well. I wanted to get some of your notes on this. I don't know if this is the right window, but can you tell me what you think?
We're into the Toy Daddy verse in this.
Sorry. How do I show my screen?
Not that way.
You usually choose the tab that you want.
I know, but it's a picture.
That's you.
Oh, I got it. Here we go. This is what I want to show. Do you guys see it?
No.
Am I showing the right thing?
No. Nothing's there.
So anyways, Dave, this is the SHF across the Spider-Verse Miles, which has some really good articulation. This is actually going up for pre-order again, their second wave, and they have a third wave, I believe, as well. So good timing if you did want to get it.
And if you did like it, they also have a Gwen and a Miguel, and they're again
and
all
the Spider-Punk and the Spider-Man India, which I'm super excited to get.
And then I'm getting them all. I'll get them one, and I'll get the rest for me.
Exactly. There's hoping.
You are a toy daddy. Congratulations.
Yes, he's a toy daddy. That's it.
The test right there. Do you buy one toy or the entire line, just in case?
Yeah, I mean, I'm already there. You know,
I mean, you don't want to miss out. What if they don't have it in the store again?
Right.
Because I have all these Mutant Mayhem figures in my house. I'm like, well, what if I never see Genghis Frog again? You don't know.
I do have to say the ones that we did recommend to you are pretty. I mean, they've been out for a while, so I hope you find them. But
that's what I said about this one.
The SHF, across the Spider-Verse.
Wave 2 or reissue 2 is about to go up, so
it's like perfect timing.
One thing, so I did find the artist. Sorry, here we go. Do you think the likeness is? Do you think the likeness is? It's supposed to be you.
I think it looks great. Look at that.
Look at our buddy. That's our resident artist here. No chewing.
Yeah, we just want to highlight No Chewing. He is an artist. He is probably out of the three of us the only artist here, in terms of drawing. But I think he nailed your likeness here. But we needed to at least highlight that piece for you.
I was wondering what you were doing, but
yeah, you guys were trying to dismiss me, but I was trying to highlight.
I didn't know what it was.
But yeah, no, he does a great job. He did our Toy Daddy's logo too. I remember we'd given you one of those pins, but he is also an artist. Just want to show that.
In case you had any more questions for him, Chewy, this is your time to shine.
Well, I think it's rather it's funny and sweet. You keep saying the word artist. I think it wasn't Jay Lee. It was what was Jimmy
Chung?
Jimmy Chung.
Yeah, he was the first person that was an artist, like, professionally an artist, that called me an artist. And I whispered to him, I'm like, thank you, but I really don't know how I can feel about that word yet, being referred to as me, but thank you. He just like laughed.
Yeah. The term artist is for all of us in terms of like our art and what we do.
Yeah, creating stuff.
Photographer,
Yeah.
creating things.
Mhm.
I always have an affinity for people that can draw. Like it's something that I can't do. I have done, but I can't do as well as others. And again, I'm not trying to compare myself, but it's just that's why I draw. I am drawn to toy photography, but it is something that I do admire. No chewing, I admire you. Dave, definitely admire you in terms of the art itself. One thing I do want to get through some of these questions, but does Finch thumbnail the script before he starts his first page?
No.
That's a solid question.
What I do is I read the whole script start to finish, and then just so I want to know where the story is going and totally what's happening, and then I start. I have done this before. Well, I'll actually cherry pick the script because I need to get pages turned in. So I go through the script and find the easiest pages and do those. It's not good, and it never works well for storytelling. And so what I try to do is start with page 1 and then work my way through. And so after I've read the whole script, I know kind of what's going on. Then I read the page, and I try to shorthand it in my head as much as I can. So I'll say, panel 1, the writer will say, this character walks into a room and he's very upset about this and he's thinking this and and all this stuff. And I just think, okay, this character walks into a room, he looks sad. I try to really break it down for myself as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because all of that information, well, that's great, and that's enough for me to kind of have an idea. And so I think in very simple terms. And then, generally speaking, for an interior page, I don't even do layouts. I lay it out on the page. So, but it depends. If it's a bit more of a complex page, or if I kind of struggle figuring out how I want to go with it, then I'll do a few layouts. But I think in terms of like an anchor panel, usually if I can, an anchor panel is like a larger panel with more cool stuff happening in it. So you look at, what's the coolest moment on a page, and you want something to be, a little more accentuated. It can even be somebody in an office and you show like a long shot, kind of looking down big windows, and I'm thinking like a Tim Sale kind of, Batman. He does my favorite Gordon office, so that could be a big panel anyway. So that's how I usually go about it.
Darth Primus, great photographer. Sup, everyone. So happy to see David Finch on the live stream. I'm a big fan, especially his X-Men covers. I met David a few times at San Diego Comic-Con. Have one of his autograph prints on my wall. Big fan here.
Well, thank you.
78 points. What movies has David worked for?
I've only ever worked on one movie, and that was Watchmen.
Ooh, you worked on Watchmen?
So for me to say that I did work on it, and I got paid. So
yeah,
I didn't use any of it. I think Adam Hughes did some.
So you did concept art, or?
Yeah, concept art. Adam Hughes did some, and John Cassaday did some. That's really it, though. I've had some credits, which is very cool. But that's just because they used stuff that was in comics that I drew. Now,
cool.
I will say this. I drew the comics. I didn't come up with any of the ideas. Like, I get a script, and I am faithful to that script. So I love to see a credit. It's so nice, and there's my name up there. But really, the idea is not mine. It was a writer, to be totally honest.
Did you were you on DC for Doomsday Clock, or was that before you?
When did that come out?
I don't know. I just know it was a continuation of Watchmen, and it was the chance of like to draw
2017 to 2019.
Okay, Watchmen sequel. I did a cover for it.
That's why. Did you?
Yeah.
So Gary Frank did the art.
Yeah, I did an alternate cover.
Okay.
If it was that, it was Watchmen. It was something with Watchmen.
Yeah, it was called Doomsday Clock.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll find it if we can find it.
I'm trying to scour Google Images right now.
Does Finch listen to music when he's working? or movies in the background, or complete silence?
Ooh.
Good question.
I listen to music sometimes. Yeah, I get into a mood for music. Right now, I'm just watching football. There's so much football going on right now that I can't keep up. So
Nice. Yeah.
and I have all day. I'm sitting just drawing. So I watch basically every game. Why not?
Oh
my
man.
gosh.
Yeah.
My
Formula
love for
One,
David Finch has increased. I didn't think it could. My goodness. Well, I haven't asked you what fan team you are, but that could decrease things. But what?
Detroit, but yeah, I'm right across.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still love
when
you.
you go into our downtown, it looks like there's a river in between, but it looks like you're going into a bigger city because Detroit is right there. So
Yeah.
I am grandfathered into liking Detroit.
Oh,
I say that because they're not bad right now. I think
they're not.
They're 1-1 this year so far, but they're doing better.
No, I can't let Eminem down again 2 years in a row, right?
That's good, Paul. Good Paul. David Finch's favorite GI Joe is.
Okay, well, Snake Eyes. I mean, I feel like my answers are very basic, and I apologize. It's true.
Nope.
It's Snake Eyes.
Dave, I've joked on my streams. I've joked with these guys on our streams together. When it comes to I'm like, no, it's Superman, it's Batman, and it's Spider-Man. Like those are my top three. That's always been since like 3 years old, 4 years old, early.
They're so popular,
Exactly. Yeah. What about animation? Do you have any works with that? How do you feel about this medium?
I don't. I've never done animation at all. I'm a huge fan, and I know people that have done a lot of it, and I mean, it's an incredible art medium. It's very, very difficult doing. So you'll have an artist. I'm sure most of you guys know this anyway, but you have an artist that does the like the keyframes. So you'll have a figure like this, and then it'll be like this, and then you have artists that do all the little movements in between. I think that's changing now. I don't know, but it is so much work. It's very work intensive. You have background artists. And it was like Disney background artists, the work they do is amazing.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
sad to me that so much of it's 3D, which I think is still great. I mean, I love it, but I miss the old Lion King and some of that stuff. But no, I've never done animation.
And one other question, Dave, which Batman comic story would you like to see adapted for the big screen, perhaps as a trilogy?
Long Halloween and Dark Victory.
Yes.
And I want to see it exactly done. I've seen they've used some characters from it, like Falcones, and they've done some of that. But I'd like to see them just do that story.
Right?
Yeah.
It's by far away my favorite Batman.
They have the stories. They're there. Just do the stories.
This is the problem. Everybody comes in and no, you have to have your creative vision, and you treat yourself like a comic artist and just do the story.
Yeah.
Properly. Not the why is it so hard? I don't know.
Yeah. Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb, they were just a super team that did so many great things, like Superman. Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow, all of those amazing Batman stories. Long Halloween. Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah.
Dave, so it seems like you like to work with great creators that have great ideas, great characters. Batman has a rogues gallery up the wazoo that I'm sure you love to draw. Well, we have a vast creative mind as well. I like to tell you a story. When I was 9 years old, cue the music, Chewy. Thank you. I like to draw my own comic book. And I had pretty much a creative mind. Like I really just loved drawing comic books, and I was like, this character that I'm gonna make is going to kill it. So what I did was I created a character named Laserman. Now this character has an amazing story where he grew up on a farm. He's a kid that is the son of a wealthy CEO. And so he worked on the farm, and he had a tragic accident one night where he needed his heart replaced. And on that night, they couldn't get to a hospital in time. So instead, they did it in the barn. And while they did it, there was a huge meteor storm that came down. And that meteor, all these rocks, one of them hit Larry Laserman, our main character. Not only that, it affected everyone on the farm, and it created these amazing characters, many of them rogues, who will later become Laserman. So I want to show you some of my concept figures that I've made on my own in my 40s, in the world of Laserman, and I hope you would like to join me in my journey and maybe make some concept art for us, but we'll see. So Yimbo. So here's my concept for Laserman. Think maybe he might remind you of something, of someone. But
For legal reasons, we won't.
For legal reasons, we won't say the name. But here we go. What do we think? This is Laserman. See? L. There's an L right here.
Yeah, I see it.
Sure is.
There's an L right here too.
There's a big L on that forehead.
But it doesn't stop at this wonderful character. There's an amazing rogues gallery. So he has
it's a lot of world building happening. It's true.
Yeah, a lot of this guy is Sputterman. So his storyline is that actually he is extremely lazy, and he skipped work the night of the meteor storm, so he didn't get any powers. So he doesn't want people to know that he skipped work that night, so he pretends to have powers, and so he throws potatoes at people. There we go. The other one, he's a main villain. His name is Fecal Matter.
We cleaned it up. Ignore the S.
He was a swear word storm.
It was an expletive, but we want to be for the people, for everyone.
We want to be for the kids,
Right.
So this is Fecal Matter. Oh man, I wish I had him complete, but I don't have the hat. But this is we're working with the name. If you look in the middle, Yimbo, can you face us, please?
Yes.
You may recognize him. This is Yimbo. I made Yimbo.
It's true.
Did we change the name?
Yeah,
okay.
well,
we'll move forward. We'll move forward. We'll move forward. Here we go.
We're with a professional here.
This is Egg Sharon. No relation.
Spare when you have the guitar with them.
Yeah, I don't have the guitar. Sorry.
This is money right here.
This is Hey Man.
Not yet.
What did you just say?
We're still in the elevator pitch stage.
This is Hey Man.
Oh,
Hey Man.
And Hey Man actually has its own music.
This is Hey Man's music. But do you get it? Like He-Man?
I totally didn't either. I'm very embarrassed.
I know, I had to say it. And then there is here's his like best friend turned main villain. What happened here? Oh, best friend turned main villain, Mooterin.
That's right. It's my favorite one.
The Divine Bovine.
We think this one has the most legs.
Yeah, we actually want to like change the main character to him because it's like copyright stuff. Like we think this would work.
The Divine Bovine. Patent pending.
Everything's a joke or comical, except for
until it's not.
One.
Hey, everything's a joke until it's
man.
not.
So I'll tell you, I have like a 6-page script like right now going on. I can send it to you. You can send me your notes. You know, we can find an inker later if Scott Williams is not busy.
Available.
Oh man.
But when I do this pitch, I always ask the guest, what do you think of Laser Man?
The Laser Man is awesome.
Yes.
The most original. It is actually very original in a lot of ways. I'm telling you. Hey Man, that is awesome. Come on.
Hey Man, right?
Yeah,
Hey Man's a good one. The song, yeah. And someone made a Hey Man song that was Zillionaire.
Zillion instrumentals.
Zillion instrumentals. But yeah, we have a song. Yeah, so the Laser Man universe goes deep in our community. I haven't done that pitch in a long time, but it was great to do it for you. But if you're interested, you have my email.
And we're back to the other show.
Yeah. This will be a bit maybe after Chris makes the Stephen King connection for it, right? This is reciprocal. Yeah, so we're very, very symbiotic over here.
Very
We
symbiotic.
talk Stephen King into doing Laser Man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll pitch you first, then Laser Man. I don't want to ruin my chances. Okay. One thing very quickly. Thank you, Dave. That was just we're off the elevator, Machi. Thank you. We do have we did talking about some toy photography photos. So we're gonna do the top 3 today. We're gonna do something special for the top 10 through 4 later, but just in the interest of
we're coming up on our witching hour. This is our, again, we're all in that East Coast time difference. So we're all approaching our bedtime.
That, and we really just want to get some of Dave's input on this. So let's check out the top 3 from the top 10.
Yes, sir.
This week. Visual Horizon toy photo.
Oh boy.
Amazing. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, we'll start with you, so we don't take all the compliment. Leave the whole. What comes to mind? What's catching your eye? What jumps out to you? All that fun stuff.
Well, I love the green lighting in the front. Really separates them so nicely from Darth Vader, and then the way it's uplit all behind him. I don't know how they managed to get uplighting behind him, but then a really nice side light along his arms. Like, it's just really well.
Yes.
And this is what I mean. Like, ideas like that for lighting. I don't know where else you find something that well staged. It's really amazing.
I'm telling you, you didn't just make the 3 of us smile. I know so many people, both here live, catching the replay. It's going to make a lot of people smile to hear, as a toy photographer, that you don't know who's seeing your work. It could be a Dave Finch, like, wow, like that. Look at that lighting. Like, that's so neat.
Yeah, it is. Wow, those behind the scenes were really cool.
Yeah, but you see just how much goes into it, which it's no surprise.
Yeah,
really nice.
Let me just check real quick.
So we like to ask the artists some questions who made the top 3. Yimbo sends
Apparently, I didn't send visual approach. I'm sorry, buddy.
No worries. But sometimes we don't have them. But
that's okay. My apologies, Sean.
That's okay. Hey, when we do that, we just take a moment and we tell people, hey, give Visual Horizon Toy Photo a visit.
Oh, did I type the wrong name in?
I
typed the wrong name in.
Yimbo, it's very important to use underscores when appropriate. But there's lots of cool stuff on this page, so go take a visit and maybe see something cool. I love the use of these backgrounds.
Give them a like. And that behind the scenes of this photo is pretty epic in terms of the setup, so that looked really neat. All right, let's move on to number. Oh, Sir Dork.
So, in terms of just another amazing toy community member, Sir Dork, his name's Jared. He does a wealth of tutorials. I just, again, introduced his channel to my students because he is so approachable and he goes into the basics of toy photography and like he covers so much great stuff. He's known as the fireworks guy. So if you've ever seen, like, I'm sure now you may have seen photos of different things going off, but he was the one that really made a name in. And again, all of these great tutorials are out there. So if Jared gets a handful of new subs, that was just because I was showing his channel off the other day.
For all of us who has started toy photography, he is one of the OGs. And so if you look up what do you need for toy photography, his video shows up. And he's a dear friend of the show. And not only that, he has some brilliant concepts. And I really loved this one with his cat. Some reason I just love cat and toys when they come together, like real life cats. And he did a great job with this. These are the are these the ones
the ones that we almost got, Chris? The ones we almost got. Yeah.
You can still get them. Go ahead, Chris.
No, we're good. We're waiting.
All right, fine. Okay. Cool. But yeah, Sir Dork is a lot of toy photographers' origin point.
Yeah.
Of how to do any of this. It was an open door. And Dave, similar to like your channel, it's an open door to concepts and just sharing ideas. And there's no gate that keeping all these secrets to yourselves. Especially in Sir Dork's perspective, he shared everything, and he's reached some great success. Even not even in spite of that, but with that,
yeah.
Well, with drawing, so much of it you can just intuit just from looking at the finished drawing. And there's so much information for learning how to draw for there's years and years of that whereas with this I don't think there'd be quite so much, and it's much more technical. So for him to be that generous with it is great.
And I think that there was a little stretch where there were people afraid of like revealing the photography, but it still comes down to a person's eye. Like at the end of the day, like you could set up a camera the exact same, but it's still like there's something that just an intangible quality, And again, it's like you said, you have to follow your own heart and passion and do what you love, and that's where you're going to find the most success and results and all of that. So
follow the joy, and man, seeing that behind the scenes was so joyful.
Yep. So I'm over 2 because I sent my questions out this morning. So Jared's a busy guy. He's cranking out a ton of things. So no worries. He's obviously shared plenty. So again, go check out Sir Dork, everybody, if you haven't.
David,
love Jared. There you go.
This is more of his classic Sir Dorkisms of using I believe he uses crackling balls as the fireworks of choice. And very cool. This is more classic Sir Dork.
Fantastic photo, Sir Dork, as always.
Number 1.
The Mighty Empire.
Ooh, cool name.
Dave, can you start us off?
Me?
Dave, can you start us off?
Yeah, just we like to again before we give our guests the full spectrum of compliments that again what's coming to mind.
Yeah. It looks like a frame from a movie,
Yeah.
And no warm or red lighting or anything like that. It wouldn't be appropriate for something like this. It looks like practical lights in a in a jungle,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's got the way that you can see the light in the trees, kind of like a shaft of light. It really separates the background from the car in front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. I'm no expert here, though, so I'm going to stop.
Neither are we, but you're right. I think it's the lighting itself matches what you would feel in a jungle, right? They
look at this setup.
Very well. Wow.
This background photo is just as good as the actual photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at what's going on here. Wow, look at the.
And I love getting that time, Dave. So like from the toy photography standpoint, like I love the technical, I love doing portraits and things, but when I get like a Saturday that I could really aggravate my wife, not like she's supportive, so not really, but like she just rolls her eyes when I start taking over like the kitchen table, and I'm like, but this is what I love, like the world building, you know? Like going really hard with it. It makes me so happy, and this is what a just stellar shot.
Oh my gosh.
We do have answers from our number one, by the way, Devon.
Yay.
The Mighty Empire. So again, congratulations, dude. So the story behind this shot is that it came together in February of this year. I built a diorama using sticks and logs from my yard to replicate trees, as well as topsoil, aquarium plants, and various fake plants from craft stores. Thankfully, a local pet store was clearancing a lot of aquarium plants, so I stocked up while working on the photo. Everything was done in camera. There were no digital elements or backdrops used. Any of the blue sky that peeks through is just the blue wall. Everything was set up on a long table to enable me to add a lot of fake foliage to add depth to the photo. Well done. The toy car was one I found on clearance. I did some weathering on it to make it look abandoned. The toy itself is collapsible, which also helps sell the damaged abandoned car look. From there, it's a lot of trial and error getting the posing, camera angle, and atmosphere right. Mixture of atmosphere aerosol as well as terrarium fogger to give everything a more jungle feel. I was thankfully able to achieve some nice light rays poking through some fake trees. Boom. What's bringing Devon, Devon, again, I want to get everybody's name right. I really love the overall creativity of the toy community. There's so many people doing so many great things like creating custom figures, dioramas, set pieces, and photos. It's always nice to see how much effort people are putting into their art, and there's just so many talented and creative people involved. I really appreciate how supportive and welcoming everybody generally is. And then, Dave, my little fun question has been, if you personally, so I won't ask you because, well, maybe, let's see. If you were being made into an action figure, what's the one non-negotiable feature it would have? So we've talked about multiple head sculpts, again, soft, good clothing. We've heard different articulation stuff. Do you have something in mind that if you were an action figure? It's possible these days. Kirby has one. Stan, now we have Todd. Why can we get a Dave?
This is not crossed my mind. No, but I can't think of anything. The one thing I'm thinking of is just like a bad joke. So no.
I love that.
Make a toy, feel free, do it however you want. I don't care. I just have the toy.
You know what? David Finch holding a Batman cowl. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah.
As your accessory.
The variant of Dave in a Batman costume.
Also true. Yeah, I like that. So anyway, for Devon, here we go. If I was made into an action figure, I'd need a high range of articulation to get into poses I could never get into real life, as well as a nice selection of swappable hands and accessories. I'm not sure a Mayfix figure made for my likeness would sell very well, but I'd buy it. Oh, that's so good. So thank you, man. Congratulations.
Woo. Congrats, the Mighty Empire. Congrats 1 through 3 this week. Again, we'll do something with the 10 through 4.
Yeah, we have ideas. We have to just kind of do our little Toy Daddy convening, but we will. We'll celebrate that. But Dave, we just had to put this. This is just again. My tongue is tied. This has been so unbelievable. Like, it's just a major fan. So this has been again. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you really for having me. This is it's been a blast. I didn't know what to expect coming in because it's very different for me.
Sure.
You know, I'm used to just talking about drawing, and I did a lot of that. So thank you for that. But yeah, this is really interesting, and I have the greatest birthday present idea now. So
yes. Oh, that makes me. That's like the happiest moment. That's gonna be so cool.
That's great. Yeah. So what did you decide, or which one are you thinking?
The SH figure art, Miles Morales.
Yes. Okay.
So,
Perfect.
Perfect.
That's a great one.
Yep.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a 3 Toy Daddy stamp of approval right there.
Did you want to show what you had on screen?
Yeah, I just love this panel. We were talking about it in Chris before.
Mhm.
Like, again, man, it's just, and this is literally on Screen Rant as one of the most iconic, scenes in a Batman comic book. For the record, like ranked. This is officially ranked.
I mean, this is as close as you get for what the Dark Knight, like the big, bulky Dark Knight that you were talking about that you don't get to draw. This is pretty close.
Yeah.
Well, that panel in the bottom right, that face, I am pretty sure that I was looking at the Mezco Batman for that.
Wow,
And
Yeah,
you can see how different it is from the Batman just above it.
Yeah.
Proportionally, it's different. I try to be consistent, but I'm not always. And I think it's different because I was specifically kind of looking at it for that.
Dude, that's it. I'm still here, right? That's the way, like, it's just, I can picture that. Yeah, like that influence right within that moment, but it works so beautifully. Like, and we wouldn't have even picked up on that without having this conversation tonight. So oh my God, how cool.
And it's got Bane. That was I was so happy when he used Bane. That was a big thing for me.
Yeah,
I got 3 straight issues of Batman fighting Bane.
It's incredible.
it's amazing. Dave,
Hold on, Chris. So while we had that, I had a poll up while you were doing the Laser Man bit. Who's your favorite laser villain? Mujorin, Heyman, Spider-Man, Yimbo. I assume you're a villain.
no, he's not.
Mujorin is. I think I maybe say character, whatever. Mujorin came in as the top choice, 80%.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
yeah. let's
But-
change.
Well, wait, what was the second though? What was the second? Because I have,
Heyman.
I think, Heyman, of
I
course.
think.
Yeah, it's got to be Heyman.
Oh, it's a split. Heyman, Spider-Man, and yeah, they come in second.
Okay, that's still, yeah, makes sense. I like that poll. Good poll.
All right, Dave, would you like to plug? I mean, like we said, your YouTube channel has a new video dropping tomorrow. You also do
Well, not
live
tomorrow.
streams.
But
Wait,
this week-
this week. Sorry. Okay.
and by this week, I mean, if like the week started today.
Yes, fair.
I'm not
Okay.
the hedge here.
No worries. All right. So imminently you'll have
Yeah.
a new video will be dropping.
I have not done a tutorial video in months. I've just been so busy. So I'm excited to do that. I've got another one kind of that I want to get to afterwards. I want to try and get back to it a little bit more. So yeah, I've got my YouTube channel. Check that out if you want to learn how to draw, or you just like to watch some. I've got a lot of live streams with great artists, and we just have some fun. And I generally learn a lot from the artists that I have on. So there's that. I'm doing Walking Dead covers 2 a month. So if you aren't already, if you haven't read Walking Dead, or if you have, we're putting out Walking Dead in color. It's Walking Dead Deluxe. I just finished the issue 106 cover for that, and I've drawn them all. I've never done so many covers on something. It's been a job. So that's coming out twice a month. Check that out. And I'm doing G.I. Joe covers also. So yeah, and I've got a creator own book that I still can't talk about, which is killing me. But
Well, Dave, I will throw this out to you now, and we might hit you up later on anyway. But Chris has your email. But if you would like to have us be part of that creator comic launch, let us know. We would happy to have you and promote whatever you want. All right.
Thank you.
So that would be
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, this has been a blast. I would love to do it again, and I think it's going to be coming up within the next few months that we'll finally announce it. Finally.
Oh, cool.
And I would love to be able to come on and talk to you guys.
That would
Oh
that
yes,
would be
absolutely.
such an honor, such an honor. So yeah, we'll have to absolutely be in touch. Yay.
Dave, I can't tell you like how happy this has made me. Just the conversations have really the fact that that panel that we show inspiration was Mezco talking about your fandom for toys, and then your son getting like these are all the things that we talk about on a weekly basis about the joys of being a toy daddy, the joys of being a fan of the toys and the comic characters.
And the comics, man. Yep.
I told my wife the other day that I was like, hey, we have this guy. He's an amazing artist, Dave Finch, and he's on our show. And I'm like such a big fan. and she was like so happy for me that I was so happy and talking about you while I was in bed with her. Like, and she was like, okay, great. Thanks. But no, I was like so ecstatic for it. And it has surpassed everything that I could have imagined. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Really amazing.
All right. Thank you guys in the chat. If you are watching this on the replay, thank you guys so much. And please spread the word, share this out, do all the good things. We'd appreciate it because, we're having this is so cool. So thank you guys.
No.Chewing?
Oh, just thank you, Dave, for coming on, making this guy so happy. It was really cool to understand everything about your process and the toys and the lighting and what you find cool. We also find cool. So we love that. Yeah. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, no, thank you. No.Chewing. What are you getting ready for?
Oh, we're going to
tonight, my toy collectors, photographers, and more. We had some fun tonight, but we're out of pictures to explore. We thank you for your time. It was nothing but sublime. Though it's time to go to bed, don't be filled with dread, because next week we'll be right here. Your toy daddies will appear to bring you joy and laughter every night and here on after.